You know what nobody tells you? The most powerful moment in your healing isn't when you block her. It's not when you ignore her text. It's not even when you stop talking about her. It's when you stop looking back. Not out of anger, not out of pride, but out of peace. It's when your thoughts stop circling that one memory, when your day doesn't begin or end with her in your mind, when she's no longer the silent soundtrack playing behind your every move. And the craziest part, that's the exact moment she feels it. Not because you made a scene, not because you tried to prove anything, but because your energy left her world and entered your own. Let me show you what happens next. Point 1. She notices when your silence becomes sincere, not strategic. At first she thinks you're doing what most men do, pulling away to get her attention, going silent, hoping she reaches out. She assumes it's a phase, but time passes and you don't come back. And that's when it hits different, because your silence, it's not a game anymore. It's your new reality. You're not trying to make her wonder. You're not playing chess. You're just done. And that calm, grounded silence, it doesn't scream, but it echoes, and she hears every bit of it. Point 2. She feels the absence of your emotional availability. She was used to the version of you that always cared, the one who answered every late night text, the one who couldn't help but react, the one who was always emotionally accessible. Now, that door is locked. And it's not slammed shut, it's just closed with care, with intention, with boundaries. She tries to send signals, little nudges, maybe even silence of her own to bait you, but nothing comes back, because you're not out here begging for breadcrumbs anymore. You've stopped feeding that old connection, and now she's starving for the presence she once took for granted. Point 3. She starts comparing who you were to who you became. She knew the version of you that doubted yourself, that reached out even when you were hurting, that loved hard, maybe even too hard. But now, that version is gone. She sees someone solid, quiet, unshakable, not performing, just existing differently. You don't post for attention. You don't argue your worth. You're not proving anything anymore. And that contrast between who you were and who you've become, it creates a question in her mind that keeps replaying. Did I ever really know him? That's when she starts to realize you've evolved. And evolution, that's magnetic. Point 4. She sees you protecting your peace, even if it costs you connection. The old you would have cracked. Answered one more message, reopened one more door, tried to just talk it out, but not anymore. Now, if it costs your peace, it costs too much. You're not bitter, you're not avoidant. You've just learned how to protect what's sacred, and she notices, because she used to hold the power to rattle you, to pull you back in. Now, her access has expired, not because you hate her, but because you love yourself more, and that kind of self-respect, it builds a distance she can't cross anymore. Point 5. She realizes your life started blooming without her in it. Healing doesn't always look loud. Sometimes it just looks like getting better at being alone, finding joy in your routine, laughing again, not to hide pain, but because the pain is actually gone, and she sees that shift. You're not waiting anymore. You're creating, living, building a life that no longer circles around her absence, and that hurts more than any angry word ever could, because deep down, she expected you to stall, to wait, to leave the door cracked just in case. But now you're not checking if she walks through it. You've built a new door, and you walked through it first. Point 6. She understands that you no longer need her to understand. Closure is a trap, bro. You think if she just gets it, you'll be free. But freedom doesn't come from being understood. It comes from not needing to be. And that's where you're at now. You don't need her to validate your hurt. You don't need her to acknowledge her role. You've stopped rehearsing the final conversation because your peace isn't waiting on her permission anymore. And when she senses that, it hits different. You're not angry, you're just uninterested in playing emotional fetch. And that kind of detachment, that's not indifference, that's power. Point 7. She feels the tension of your silence but can't reach you anymore. She might send a song, a memory, a post that says nothing but means everything, but you don't respond. Not because you didn't see it, but because it no longer pulls at you. And now, for the first time, she's sitting with a version of herself that doesn't have access to you. She feels the tension of the silence, but it's not yours anymore. It's hers, because you're not stuck in limbo. You're not checking your phone. You're not pacing. You've moved on. And that tension she feels, that's the sound of a connection fading, one you used to keep alive, and no longer do. Point 8. She realizes too late that you became the man she always wanted, without her. This one stings the most, because as she watches you grow, she sees glimpses of the man she thought she wanted you to be. Confident, composed, emotionally whole. But now you are that man, and she's no longer beside you. You didn't become him to win her back. You became him because your pain forced you to level up. And the irony? Now that you're healed, grounded, and glowing, she sees what she lost. But the door doesn't open just because she knocks. Because the man you are now, he doesn't look backward. He keeps walking forward. Look, brother, don't let anybody tell you healing is about getting revenge or making her regret. That's surface level thinking. Real power is when you move so deep into your peace that regret doesn't even matter anymore. And if you felt any of this in your soul, if you know you're living this quiet transformation, drop the word shifted in the comments right now. Let's see how many men are rising, not to prove anything, but just to be free. Because freedom doesn't come from being noticed. It comes from being unbothered.